Hello everyone. So 11 a.m. we have. It's really nice to see you here on the panel on beauty festivals. We have really interesting guests here, and I think the discussion will be also interesting because of this. I would like to start maybe with some interesting observation, because like yesterday there was a panel here on woman presence in festivals in former Yugoslavic countries, and it was all woman panel, and here on the panel on beauty festivals I am the only woman. Anyway, let's start the panel on beauty festivals. Beauty festival is a phenomena, I think, of the festivals with limited audience, which are usually carried out in some really specifically chosen locations. We have here representatives of festivals which are taking place on the Lakeside, on an island, in a former horse range. So they are really unique locations, and these are also festivals which are carried out for a limited audience. So these are not mass festivals. What can provide the audience, the people who are coming there, a really specific, unique experience. So they also provide like multi-sensual experience. They are not only about music anymore, but a lot of experiences. So going to this kind of festivals, you can really go to some kind of dreamland, I would say. You can really go to a world, to a different world, and for a couple of days forget about your daily life. And because of this, you can also meet a lot of people and maybe make new friends and create deeper bonds with people. So anyway, I would like to introduce the guests here. We have here Raphael Pleschounig from Acoustic Festival. We have here Julio Gómez from the festival in Galicia, Sinsal Festival. We have here Stefan Reichmann from Haldern Pop Festival, and this is really good, Szabolcs Czeglédi from Bankito Festival in Hungary. And I would like to ask you to introduce your festivals in a couple of words, and yourself as well.
Sweet. I'm Szabolcs Czeglédi from Budapest, Hungary, and I'm the booker of this festival, which is a 4,000 capacity a day festival, and it lasts for 3 days. As I'm the booker, I'm more like, of course, responsible for the music. We always try to get like a kind of current lineup. So we had Ice Age and Rendezvous last year, who played yesterday, an amazing show here. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but we also have an amazing theater program. And the main point of the festival is also that we have cultural and civil programs which focus on important topics which affects our society. And like last year, 2 years ago, it was about corruption. 3 years ago, it was about the border. And this year, we were more like the topic was 2028, which means that what should we do in the next 10 years to make our living better. So it was more like about educating and figuring out what should we do to make like at least our country better. Fair enough? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay, my name is Stefan Reichmann. I'm from Germany, from Haldern Pop Festival, and also from Haldern Pop Festival. It's a new edition we found 5 years ago in North Italy. And we are from a village, and I think our dream was, when we start very young, we have more energy than experience, and we try to find the right balance over the years. And we run this festival since 36 years. And we run also in the small village a record store, a label, and a live bar. It's an off-day bar for stranded bands from the middle of nowhere. And it's a small universe. It sounds everything a little bit historical, but I think we love it.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. When I introduce the festival, Sinsal Festival works in a couple of small islands in Vigo Bay. Vigo Bay is a long estuary close to Portugal border. And the festival offers an experience with daylight, no by night. People have to take a boat in different docks along the Vigo Bay, reach the island, stay there around, depends on the day, 5 hours or 9 hours. The festival works 4 days, from Thursday until Sunday. Well, and the lineup is secret. Then people have to take the boat, buy the tickets, discover the bands that are playing this day. More or less this small introduction to the festival.
Hello, my name is Raphael. I am founder, together with a few friends, of the Acoustic Lakeside Festival in Austria. And first of all, I have to say it's really a pity that we are only men sitting out here, no women are here, and that's difficult to say if you're part of the problem, obviously. But yeah, totally right. So the name of the Acoustic Lakeside Festival actually tells it all. No need to explain it further. It's acoustic at the lakeside. And yeah, 10, 13 years ago we started it with the romantic idea of taking something that we believe we are owning as well, as 18, 19-year-olds back then, which is a beautiful space in a holiday destination in Carinthia, which is basically just on the other side of the hill, of the mountain. And we wanted it to make it our own, to transform it into something that we feel comfortable with and that we enjoy. And so we said, let's take the lakeside, let's take something that fits to it, which is acoustic music. So the philosophy, the idea of, you know, taking a blanket, going to the lakeside, taking your guitar, and silently playing your music and not disturbing any kind of animals that are living at the lakeside. And somehow the idea evolved and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, we are very happy that these days we have a capacity of 3,000 visitors and we are sold out year after year. That yeah, is something that we're very proud of.
Thank you for these short introductions. So as you can all see, all these festivals, they offer some kind of like package of attractions, and which is also multi-sensual. It's not only anymore about music, it's also about workshops, it's about civil cultural program, it's about discussing about important social issues, it's about workshops, it's about also a game, because Sinsal Estra Festival is also like, it's inviting people to participate in some kind of a game. So, what kind of attractions you offer to your audience, and is it still, and what is the place of the music in your festivals?
So as I said, at our festival it's all equal theater and civil and cultural programs, but like, as I'm the booker of the festival, I can go for the music topic. So actually we have 3 stages. One of them is the main stage, which is like 1,500 capacity. We have a beautiful stage on the lakeside, which is like 1,000 capacity, and now we're gonna have a smaller stage, which is more like a showcase kind of stage, where every band plays 30 or 40 minutes long sets. And we try to invite, every year, I think more and more, but like in the last 2 years we invited 5 or 6 international bands, and mostly as headliners. But the rest of the bands are like, it's quite domestic. But our philosophy is to give chance to smaller bands, like quite unknown bands, and we put them on the main stage. And as our audience is very open-minded, always looking for the new, as they see them playing on the main stage as like this their first time maybe ever, I can guarantee that they will have a good year, at least in Budapest. That yeah, people can fall in love with them easily at the festival.
I think too, we are a music festival. I'm also the booker, and I think music is the head of everything there. And I think something other points happening, and it's all, your introduction means it's that the people can go far away from home, 3 days, with alcohol, with music, with else. But I think not too far. I think it's also, again, for example, some festivals, they build your fantasy, they create it in real. And that's, for me, not the way to create a festival. And I think everything would decide, we invest a lot of trust in our audience for the first time, and now we get it back and we celebrate it a little bit. And the bands for our festival, they come not for me or for us, they come for this fantastic audience. And there's a little bit like an energy of attention in the space, and that makes it a little bit different. And I think for me, we have also in our own society the discussion how important is the music, but we are not interested to create big wheels or entertain them 24 hours a day. That's very, I hate it. And I think it's more, give them a little bit space to be your own, make campfire, to make it a little bit relaxed, and then they're completely open to see bands and to see everything.
Yeah, I think, Stefan, you're touching a really good point, and I was, because we were talking beforehand, and I was thinking about what makes the experience special from our side, and I'm totally of your opinion that it's a moment that you are creating, but you cannot create it yourself, but you just have the possibility to give the audience the chance to create the moments, because moments you cannot build, you can just set the parameters and the conditions for it, but you are not the one who engineers a product and builds it, and then you have a quality control and then it works perfectly, but you just have to give space to the audience, I believe, and this is what we are trying to do as well. So any ambition that the audience is setting, like last year we had a bird excursion, because that's part of our logo as well. Some visitors approached us and said, hey, why don't we do a ornithological hike, which is basically a bird watching hike. And we said, yeah, sure, if you want to organize it, go for it. We tried to help you out with finding a sponsor. So we found Swarovski to send us binoculars. And these people, these visitors, just did their own stuff, and they initiated a program, which is great because it's authentic. They love to do it, and they spread the word and they spread the love of the festival. So if something like this happens, I think this is a proof that you're giving the audience the right space to create moments.
Yeah, in Sinsal we arrange more activities around the festival, but the most important is the music and the musicians. And we work for them. We work for them and we work for the audience to listen to music in another situation, not with a big festival sharing the venue with thousands and thousands people. This is another history. We work in a big, the translation will be something like a very important heritage place in Galicia. For us, we try to introduce why we are there. San Simon Islands were a lazaretto in the 19th century and a civil war camp for the Civil War, in the Spanish Civil Wars. And for us, it's very important to introduce the music to change, not to forget, but to change this venue, this place, because it's, for some people around it's too sad. Then we try to change and to offer a new perspective in the future, no? Around the music, because the music is very, very powerful. It's very important in our lives. It's emotion, and I think it's the only thing that, not the only, but the best thing to claim about the future and about all the small things that we are living in this moment. Very poetic, I think so.
You emphasized two really important topics. I will continue with the topic of audience later on, but if you all underline the importance of the music at your festivals, I would like to deepen the question and ask you about what kind of musicians you want to promote. Are there the local musicians, the emerging artists, or the people, the musicians who you feel that they need recognition among your audience, and this is also connected with the audience. Are the people who are coming to your festivals mostly like the national audience, like the people from your countries, or you are focused mostly on international audience? So there are two questions in one.
I start with the first. I think the biggest challenge for us when we thought about booking for the festival obviously was to forget about the big headliners, because we knew that it's not a race that we can win and not a race that we want to win. And I, by the way, think that this is getting more and more dramatic, and yeah, the race is just getting insane. But what we try to understand is what kind of artists do fit to the kind of atmosphere that we want to create in this idyllic atmosphere by the lakeside, without, you know, harming animals, being silent, trying to, you know, fit into the idea of this romantic holiday by the lakeside. And this is how we picked the artists. And some of them actually didn't fit into the idea of it, and we asked them, hey, would you be able to do something different? We had Son Lux playing last year, for instance, and they are a band that we would have never imagined to fit into our lineup, but we got into a conversation and realized that they are open to doing special things. And then they teamed up with a local ensemble in our region, and they came up, they rehearsed a new set for the program, and they did something that they tailored to the idea of the festival. And I mean, these are of course special examples, and you cannot fill a lineup with all of these artists, but I think every band, or let's say a lot of bands today, are eager to do something special, and they want to transform into something that fits to the idea of your festival brand, and you just have to ask them, I believe. And of course, local artists is something that we try to yeah, have and also put into a level where they get the recognition that they deserve.
Well, Sinsal works with local bands, of course, artists from Spain and Portugal, that for us is like the same country, and with artists from everywhere. Really, we are not indie or rock or electronic or world music festival. We try to book artists that we like in any kind of style, in any kind of music. We say that we are a proposals festival, no a festival where the big names or some kind of artists are important. For us, the music is the most important, and we try to introduce new artists. Sometimes they are bigger, like Algate, for example, that they play with us when they are unknown. Or, I don't know, recently, Sons of MENT, for example, that is a new jazz hype last year. And this is our mission, to introduce new bands, different styles from everywhere, because the diversity is one of the ways that we try to work for the festival.
Diversity is also our, but we have to learn it. We don't start with it. So over the years we learned that it doesn't matter what kind of genre it is, it's much more exciting what kind of energy is in this band, what kind of trust, or is it as in... Sometimes some special points decide when we book a band, for example. Regarding the local situation, local bands, we support local bands, but it's not important for us where the band comes from. I know a lot of local bands expect that we have to sort out to play them, let them play on the festival, and never will do that because they are local ones. It's not a reason when, it's also like when it is a woman, it makes sense to let them play. I think if you will do a festival, it doesn't matter how the quality of the music is more important. And will you run a festival with good music, with fresh music, will be very close to what's happening in the world, you will see a lot of women on stage, and but you have also the chance to get them. That's the other thing. But the local expectation from local bands it's very special and it's always trouble for me. But if a band comes from the neighbor city, it's possible to play the festival if they are good enough from our perspective. It's a sub-perspective. But on the other side, it's not a privilege to be part of the festival because you live close there. You know what I mean? Everybody is welcome. They come from China or from Russia. But on the other side, we are not well informed about the Chinese music scene. So we can only grab what we know.
So when I book the festival, when I put the dates together, you have to know that our festival is 11 years old at the moment, and when it started in the beginning, those people who started to come to the festival, now they have babies, and but they still love to come. And usually Thursday and Friday are the ones where I put the young bands on, and on Saturday, when I know that they can come with the family, I put the kind of a bit older bands and and also young bands as well. But this is my strategy when I do the booking, to like take care of those people as well who just started to build this festival up. And regarding the bands I like to book, for me it's not about how you can play, how well you can play and stuff. I'm more looking to the attitude. And for example, last year there was a band who played at our third stage, and they couldn't hear themselves well in the monitor, and the girl said that, "Oh, you sound engineer, you shithead," or stuff. And everyone said that you don't need to book this band the next year, but this year I put them on the main stage. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add a comment on the local artists, because I think that very much underlines how each and every festival is different, because Haldern Pop, obviously, at least to me, is known for its very, very detailed and perfect set of artists that are playing, and you would go there because you expect to be enriched by the ideal artists that they have staged. But for us, promoting local artists is a benefit because we have a personal relationship with them, and these people come and they know how to treat us, and they know how to give the energy back to the audience, and that's what the audience expects when they come to the Acoustic Lakeside Festival, not the up-to-date, most well-known or most expected artists at the moment, but more the kind of family atmosphere that we try to give them. So I think this is just a different, and I think it's good that everybody is approaching it differently.
And I really like the way you are taking into consideration the audience and the specificity of the audience who is coming every single day to your festival. And this is what I really believe is unique characteristic of these boutique festivals, that the audience, which is limited, which is not really like a big audience, is on the first place when you think about also creating the lineup or the program of the festival, and you think about creating this kind of experience for those people and creating some kind of a dreamland for those people. And that because of limitedness of amount of people who are coming to your festivals, it also creates an opportunity to create some kind of community, that people who are there for a couple of days and they participate in common experience, they have a base to create strong bonds between each other. So now I would like to ask you more about the people who are your audience, and about the role of the community in creating your festival as well. Because as far as I know, for example, Acoustic Lakeside Festival is based on a community work and also involvement of the audience, of the people in co-creating the festival. So firstly I would like to ask you about the role of the community in creating your festival, and then...
I think that's just insane, and we are astonished year after year how the community, people living in the town, feel part of it. And any time that anybody in the town says or tells to a stranger that in the summer my festival is happening, we all feel so proud that people identify with what we do. And honestly, it took a lot of time and a lot of talks and a lot of beers with everybody in the town. So we went from house to house, we explained people what it is, and they suggested themselves to help, and They came 1 year, the second year, the third year, brought people with them, and somehow everybody in the region is helping out and is being part of it. And I think this is what transports the spirit the most, because you trust in people and recommendations, and if somebody tells you that it's his festival and he's so amazed by it, of course you get infected and you want to take part as well. And yeah, we are very happy that this happened. And also the audience goes with it, with the spirit, because they see that everybody's helping and they feel that they should help too in order to preserve it. We had the incident of heavy rainfall many years, but most of all 4 years ago, and we had floodings all over the festival area, and a neighbor, he brought wood chips to help us, cover the ground and make it more stable. And we were there, throwing wood chips and working, and it was a hard time. And all of a sudden, people, the audience, they came, put on music, and they helped us to do the job. And we were finished after 10 minutes with a work that actually would have cost us like 3 hours. And it was just amazing how you feel close to crying when something like this happens.
Well, for us it's very difficult to work with the audience, because our festival is limited to 800 people per day, and we sell the tickets in 1 hour, and it's very difficult to work with the audience. No? Mm-hmm. I think that all the concept around the festival, not directly, but we thought, we are thinking in the audience, mm-hmm. To enjoy, to enjoy the journey, discover the venue, the history of the place, and it's very important to say that the concept of boutique, I don't agree with this word. Boutique comes from French concept of luxury. We are not a boutique festival. Of course, it's not cheap. Tickets are between 35 and 50 euros. It's not expensive as well. But it's not a luxury, it's not something exclusive. But it's very difficult to work with the audience for us, because we are only 800 people per day. It's like a small theater. No? It's something that you can fill very fast.
Mm-hmm. But I think, like, if your tickets are getting sold in 1 hour after the announcement that they are on sale, this is that you created already a community who trusts your festival, your choices, and you involve them in some kind of a game, because they don't know the names of the artists at all. They just know that they can expect some kind of a unique experience. So do you feel that there is some community built around the festival, that there are people who are coming year by year to the island to be a part of Sinsal festival, or they are every year newcomers who want to experience this because this is something totally special?
Well, sometimes I want to think that people are coming because they are in relationship with the idea, but other times after to see how people are talking for the live concert, that's something that for me is very bad. I say, wow, I don't know if I have to work in this, no? Because when something is so popular, you get an audience that sometimes is not the best one. It's difficult. But of course, I'm thinking about something that want to go to abroad, to a festival like MENT, and I can't read in a newspaper or on a web. Here there is a festival that you have to take a boat in a very nice place close to Portugal, northwest of Spain, Santiago's ways. Oh, I can go on holiday. Okay, after I enjoy 1 day the festival, I take more days to travel around. It's a perfect idea, I think so.
Stefan, in your festival, it developed during all these years. At the beginning, it was like a party made by friends, wasn't it? And then during the years, ministrants, exactly.
But the community thing is very important for us, and I need to explain for everybody. This festival is owned by nobody, but a little bit it's owned by the village. And when we started 36 years ago, it starts with a party. We are bored. We are on the countryside. And we love music, and it comes step by step. But today we know how important it was a big move for us to open the village and to find the trust of the people. Also the people, they are 86 or 96, and the youngest one. So the whole village, and then we brought the festival back to the village in the morning and early afternoon, to the church, to the bar, and to that they're still living this village. And then go back to the camping ground and have the main stage and the mirror tent. For us, it's very important to have this relationship with the people. And also, we are, I think, 400 people who run the festival on this weekend. And it's a very important thing for us to sell the beer to the people, to get in touch with an audience, to listen to the stories, because I think there's a deep value for everybody who works for this festival to collect all the stories, to be part of the story. And now, 36 years later, we know it makes a lot with our village. So young people have not only the feeling to miss something without the bus. You know what I mean? It's a privileged place where also young people can create something with music, so they find solutions for this energy. Mm-hmm. And Berlin is not the must go, but it's okay to go to London, to Berlin, but it's beautiful to come back.
Mm-hmm. So is there a place in your festival for the audience also to involve in co-creation, the program?
No.
Okay.
You mean the music program?
The music program, no, but maybe some additions.
We make conference. We talk about to be strange, but more also when you come 20 kilometers from the next bigger city to Haldern with your bag and you're standing in the middle of the village, you are also a stranger in the first moment. And then what can you help here in a small village to get in touch with the people? I think we also discuss about traditional historical stuff in the village, sport teams, and we are the festival in the village, but we are not the village, and it's a very important thing to discuss. In July, we are not the festival. In July, there are several other things happen in this village, and I think a good festival is also based on respect, experience, and the most thing is trust and relationships.
So both in your festival there is also included this civil cultural program, as you already mentioned, that they are debates or discussions on the really important social issues. So what is the role of the community, of the people in your festival?
Actually, what I love the most about them at the moment is I can see that they put their trust in us. As I see for example, the pre-sale tickets, without announcing any lineup, we nearly sold like twice as much tickets as we sold last year. And like our audience is mostly, like 85% of the audience is coming from Budapest, which is like 50 kilometers away. And actually the role of them is many of our audience are also volunteers, so we work with a lot of volunteers, and yeah, they just like very good helping hands to us, also from like working with technicians, working on the fields, but like yeah, they help a lot to make this happen. And like when you were talking about the village itself, how do people use the village around it, you have to know that inside our festival you can still find the shops and the bars and stuff, which is also there during the year, and like people can drink cheap and like buy cheap stuff at the shop, which is I mean, the owner of the shop must be very happy, but like the people who work at the shop, they just see that they have to work this, like much more, but they get the same amount of salary. But like yeah, people love, I mean, enjoying all these facilities that also restaurants, shops and bars around the festival.
I really believe that making a festival for such a limited audience and with a special program, and making a festival in general, gives you all an opportunity to build a community based on a common set of values. And you were mentioning that this is really important for you to also include and make people aware about the heritage of an island. So I would like to ask all of you about the values on which you build your festivals and which you want to spread among the people who are your audience.
I think the deepest values are actually rooted in the organizational team, because when we started it in 2006, we were very, very upset with what is happening at our places. So we all come from the region where the festival takes place, and it's beautiful scenery. You got so many lakes, mountains. It's a perfect holiday destination in the south of Croatia. And without offending anybody from Germany, including Stefan in this round, you have a lot of German tourists. And you know, these German tourists with white socks and sandals, and everything is built for them. And you feel really out. You don't feel that this is the place that you belong to. And we said, hey, come on, let's make it a place where we feel at home. And we build our own thing, and this is how it started. And I think these values, they are still in the very deep heart of ours, to not wanting to give up a place that is so beautiful to something that is so artificial and doesn't have a deeper sense in it. So what we try to create is our place, and yeah, it's going on for 13 years now, and we are in a debate with the communal society at the moment, how this can go further, and there's a lot of discussion happening, but we don't want to give up. We want to further develop it, and I think these are the values that follow us in what we do, and this is at the very essence, what we want to achieve with the festival, to make it a place that we feel at home. And yeah, it's a place for development of a lot of young people, including me. I still count myself as one of the young people in our region, of course. And you learn so much, and you don't have to move to the bigger city in order to learn it. You can learn it at your home place. And I think it's a real pity that people have to move away in order to, you know, get enriched, and we have to change that.
Well, we work with a concept that is social sustainability. We work in this before and after the festival with an environmental engineer. And we introduced 3 different ways to work. Diversity, that I talked before, equality, and environmental issues. Then we develop a strategy, a way to work in the different aspects. For example, with the heritage of the venue, we have special tours around the island to tell the history in this so important place, inside and outside the island. We work with the memory of the place where there were prisoners from the 36 until 44. Every year we try to introduce some new action. For example, last year was a sound artist called Acoustic. He is a special recording in phonographic cylinders. Phonographic cylinder is a format from the 19th century invented by Edison. We were recording with him poems and letters from the prisoners in the prison, in the island. And it was like a machine that travels in the time, you know, something like that. We tried every year to do this kind of things, no? with the heritage. At the same time, we are very strict with all the environmental issues. Okay, we have hourly class for everyone. We don't sell plastic. We have restricted areas to smoke, these kind of things. It's a daylight festival. For us, that's help too much. About the diversity, we work with different aspects. Not the global diversity, that is important, of course, no? Introduce bands from everywhere, Africa, Asia, South America, etc. But also the local diversity is very important. No? I like MENT Festival, for example, because it's a link between the East and the West of Europe. And whatever all the bands can play rock or pop, you know, it's Occidental music, we can say. But when you are listening bands singing in their languages from Russia, Romania, it's really very nice for me. This is diversity, no? And equality is quite important. The gender, the parity, to play the same female and male artists, take care about the workers, take control about this kind of companies that they only have male workers or something like that. Okay, talking with them, please. You have to look for a female if you need it, especially in sound technicians. There are no women walking around, and we try to do more or less this kind of things.
Would you like?
Yeah, I think the greatest value at our festival is basically the mindset of our audience. Is that, as I said, every year we have a topic, and you just hear these young people talking about and debating about this topic, just walking around and like keep thinking about this and yeah, having debates on it. And like, you know, there's those kind of guys who just bring their own ashtray. You cannot find any cigarettes on the field after the festival, and I mean, of course you can find some, but like not as much as. But like, I think like this is the biggest value of us, and to keep it short, it's you never forget that like the value of a festival. I think it's always just have a good fun and just like don't forget this one either. That like not just go there to think about and talk about and stuff, but like enjoying it, and they can do like both. I think that's the value of our festival.
I think also a value for our festival is that what we learn is it's a collection of skills in the village. There's a son of a carpenter, there's anybody who loves music. It's not that all the 400 people are completely into music, but everything what the music happens or makes happen, it's you need all these people. You need people that can tell a joke in the right moment. It's sometimes very important. And so this confidence what you create from out of these people is very important. And also the history, now what we've done the last 30 years is very important. We have these bands like Bon Iver, Mumford & Sons, and they play in the right moment in Haldern. And the value is when they play. They play not when they are headliners. And when a headliner is interested in Haldern and less of money, they can play Haldern, it's no problem. But we can't pay what they expect. Everybody can play if we like it. The other thing is that we don't like every headliner. And but on the other side is to bring the music in the right position, like in the church or in the mirror tent, the right place. And what we also learn is to be not focused on one target group, be focused on the whole thing. Younger generation, all the generations from young to old, it's very important. And that's also the reason that a 7,000 people festival and only 3 tickets, we make no daily tickets, so you have to decide for your own, will you come for the whole weekend? Or it's not good to go, because it makes everybody nervous when the people come and go all the day. It's harder to sell. You can make more money if you have daily tickets, but when you start, when the people come on Thursday and they leave on Sunday, then everything comes a little bit to a smoother moment. That's what we learn. And in the end, I think the people, the value of the people, what everybody, also the festival goers, it's, I think it's a little bit also a tradition to come back in a flat region. It's not really, it's not like Canton, Lakeside. It's, I think, a lot of Second World War is happening there, so it's not a pretty village, a picturesque village, but for these days it's very full of energy, full of confidence, and a good vibe, and that's enough for us.
Mm-hmm. One more question before we give the voice to the audience. You mentioned like the importance of taking care of the surroundings, like all of your festivals are taking place in unique surroundings, which is connected actually to the nature. You want to bring people closer to the nature, so you make the festival on the lakeside or the island or in the village. So there is a necessity to take care about the nature as well, to take care about the planet, because the festival is always a source of a huge amount of garbage and also a lot of noise, which is dangerous for the animals and other live beings who are living in this in the nature, in the surroundings. So I would like to ask you about the means you introduced to take care about the surroundings, and maybe I would like Julio to start, because you already introduced the sustainable management program on the island, and this is also a reason why you are making your program during the daytime.
Yeah, well, the island is a big special heritage place, but it's also a very special natural place, okay, because it's on the sea and all the area is, has a special protection about. How I told you before, we are working with environmental engineer, and she works with all the companies that they are for the festival, taking care about the garbage, for example, taking care about the movement with the transport, water consumed, these kind of things. Just now that we are working in reuse more than in recycle. This is the step where we are in this moment, trying to reuse and not recycle, because after 4 years recycle, really you realize that it's not the best way, you know. You lost the control about the garbage, and at this moment I think the new political ways to work this kind of issues is taking care about the reuse. Because of that, we have only glass. It's not plastic, it's metacrilatic glass. We work with also one packaging for the food and these kind of things.
I have to be honest, and I think it's true for many festivals, including us, that it works the other way around for us. It's actually the audience educating us on the importance of looking after the environment, because they are much more careful, at least in our case, and they tell us that it's important to do so, because obviously we have an eye on it, and we have been busy organizing the festival, but the least, or like one of the secondary things you initially think of when you organize a festival without knowing anything about organizing festival is thinking about waste management, and this always comes secondary. And when you're at the point where everything works and you have skills that enable you to organize a festival so it works, then in our case it was the audience that reminded us we should think about how to treat waste and make it sustainable. And I think it's also a good way how to do it, because the audience feels they have it in their hands and they can do something. And we are taking their advices and trying to adapt it, but at the same time, I feel we are at the stage where everybody is talking about what you can do, but nobody is sure about what's the real impact of having paper cups instead of plastic. Where does this waste go, and is it burned? Who treats it? it's so difficult to really understand the impact, and this is why I think many are hesitant to, to jump on the train, I believe.
And what are the means you introduce to limit the produce of garbage or noise and effects on the surroundings?
Yeah, I have to tell the truth that as I'm the booker of the festival, I'm not very into the process of the garbage management, but I'm sure that my colleagues are taking well care of it. Yeah, what I know is that we use a lot of grass. It's like the main stage is basically on a football field. So that what I know is like we take care of recovery, like the grass after the festival and all this stuff. So yeah, I have no idea about the garbage process, but like if you want to add something, I don't know. But I know that we take care of the recovery of the field. That's true. Sorry.
I think regarding the garbage is we have to clean it, but what I told earlier, we invest the first years in the trust of the audience. So we gave them our trust to give them space to do what they want, and it comes every year better and better. And also what we see today is when they leave the camping ground, it looks fantastic. So it means that's also a value. But on the other side, I think we know all the people who owns the farms, the greens, the riding ground, and we know the green master of the riding ground, and we know when it's not really clean there. It's a lot of trouble in the air. It's a lot of respect for this situation. So we try to be careful, and we discuss a lot of points to be careful with the nature, with everything. But it's not massive on the poster. You know what I mean? I think I think we can expect it, and also the audience expect from our side to be careful what we do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have 10 more minutes until the end of this panel, so I would like to give the voice to the audience. Any questions here around?
Hi, I would like to make an answer about the foreign audiences. So if you have people from abroad, and if not or yes, if it's a goal for you to bring people from foreign country, and if you have communication strategies to do this.
Yes, we have, and we love it, and everybody's welcome, because we create our hospitality international. So everybody can come, and there's a growing society. We are close to the Dutch border, and Dutch people normally like to travel. And but more and more also people from Switzerland, England come over. But that is really the story about the program, to see bands very early. That's the thing.
I have to say that we had a big challenge in attracting customer visitors, let's call them visitors, from abroad, because first of all we have a limited capacity and we have a very high degree of repeating visitors. So 80% of the people roughly they come year after year. And you don't want to take the right away from them to come. Actually, you want to treat them like with a primary status. You want to give them the chance to come back. And this is why we had some troubles to grow outside the borders. And I think, although it's just like 60 kilometers away from here, we have very few visitors from Slovenia, which is a pity. But I think it's just a matter of, not having really the chance to buy tickets. And we are trying to grow into that direction without harming our repeated visitors. So we have this ticket tour where we sell tickets. We only sell tickets at special locations at special times. So you have to come there. And we would want to do a stop at a sales spot here in Ljubljana as well. So if anybody has an idea of where we can do that, please get in touch.
So you don't sell your tickets online?
No longer. We started 3 years ago because we had, when you try to perfectly organize a festival, you want to live the spirit, and then you have a ticket partner which doesn't treat the festival special, and you print it on a sheet of paper. Then you ask yourself if this is the right thing to do, and we said no. We only sell hard tickets, and we took a few locations within Austria and Germany to sell them. And at some stage, the Austrian law said that you have to register every ticket that you sell. So we were no longer able to do that. Then we said, fine, then let's grab a registration desk, a registration, what do you say, cash desk, and put it into the car, and let's drive to 9 locations, and we sell the tickets at a special time. And it went perfectly. People were queuing up. They came, like we were starting to sell tickets at 11 o'clock on Saturday in Vienna. They came there at 8 in the morning. They camped in order to, queue up. And then they got there and they got their tickets. And it helped us to, get in touch with the people again. And we were drinking beer, not only in the summer together with them and having fun together with them. And yeah, we would like to continue this way, and this is why, if you have an idea where we could do this in Ljubljana, we would be very open to add another stop on our ticket tour.
We sell only tickets online because you have to buy the ticket and choose the timetable for the journey with the boat. It's a very difficult process. We have more than 32 combinations, different combinations. At the same time, we are a very small festival, only 800 people per day, and our budget to do communication outside is very limited. Anyway, we have more than 45% of the audience outside of the region of Galicia, especially from, I think the main city is Madrid after Barcelona, and this is more or less the numbers from the last edition. Only less than 5% comes from abroad, out of Spain and Portugal. Because Portugal is only 30 kilometers, and it's like our region is the same, okay? But from outside Pirineos, 5%.
Adequate. So as we only started booking foreign bands like 3 years ago, before that I think it wasn't very interesting for foreign people to come to our festival, because of course they want to see like good bands and they don't really know our domestic bands. But now you can see that there's still a low percentage of foreign people coming to our festival. So it's not significant at the moment, but it's increasing definitely. And yeah, from this year we were just thinking about focusing, working with promoters, but like we just need to figure out the best way, and maybe we just start to go for tastemakers in different countries to get like big friendship and like big company together, and yeah, invite one by one, and like year by year we might be able to bring like a significant foreign audience. So it's in the plans for us.
3 more minutes or 1 more question.
So I got a question regarding advertising. So big festival brands have successfully switched from web to mobile as their primary communications channel. But I know that isn't the case with smaller festivals. So I'm wondering, what's the reason? Is it the cost? Is it the extra work?
We don't have an advertising budget. We don't have money for advertising because we know that first of all we're limited in the capacity, and we know that the best advertising, the best promotion you can get from people, and we let the people do the promotion for our work, for our festival, and of course social media helps us to spread the word, but we don't buy media, we don't put adverts on Instagram, or we sponsor ambassadors or whatever. This we don't do. No.
Well, we have not a budget also for this, but we try to do it, especially because we try to help some mass media that they are working with the music, especially some magazines, newspapers, and something like that. It's like it's not an advertisement really; it's more than like a relation,
We have a little bit, no, we have a budget because we like posters and we like postcards, and we make a pencil this year as a flyer, and we also like advertising, but we are not interested to go to the huge medias to make to invest a bunch of money for a whole site in Rolling Stone magazine or music. We don't believe that makes sense for us to do that on this way. But we like posters, we are classical. We have also hard tickets. It's not interesting for us to have no hard tickets. We know it from the 70s and 80s, it's important to have it on your pin wall. It's good.
As far as I know, we have a tiny bit of budget for targeting and social media, but you have to know that as our festival has quite unique value on the market, like all the music blogs and news sites are always happy to write about our festival because they're quite supportive. In our country is going to quite wrong direction at the moment, so like as our festival keeps having these values, all the news sites which also open for these values, they're always very open to give articles about our festival. So yeah, they're very supportive with us, I have to say.
It's 12 already, so I think we are supposed to finish. So thank you a lot. Thank you, the audience. Thank you.